My beloved child, stop exactly where you are. Silence the room. Lower the volume of your surroundings and let the frantic, calculating, terrified machinery of your mind finally come to a complete halt. I have intercepted your scrolling today with an absolute, undeniable mandate from the throne room of heaven. You are not here by a random stroke of the algorithm, and you are not here because you simply needed background noise. You have been drawn to this specific frequency because your spirit is exhausted from fighting an invisible generational war, and I have come to officially declare the ceasefire. Listen to the weight of these words and let them echo into the deepest, most heavily guarded vaults of your soul. The generational curse of poverty stops with you today. I know the exact, specific pain you are carrying in your chest right now. It is a very distinct, suffocating type of agony. It is the deep, visceral exhaustion of financial survival. I see you sitting at your table, bathed in the cold, unforgiving light of your phone screen, staring at your bank accounts, staring at the mounting bills, and feeling a sickening, icy knot form in the very pit of your stomach. I know the sheer, paralyzing panic that grips your throat when an unexpected expense arises. I know the silent humiliation of having to constantly calculate the price of basic necessities, mentally putting things back on the shelf, and living in a perpetual state of, "We cannot afford that." You have been working so incredibly hard. You have poured your blood, your sweat, and your precious youth into jobs that drain your life force. You have sacrificed your sleep. You have followed the rules. You have tried to save. And yet, no matter how furiously you paddle, you feel like you are chained to a concrete block at the bottom of the ocean. The world looks at your struggle and offers you hollow, arrogant advice. They tell you to just work harder. They tell you to wake up earlier. They tell you that your lack of wealth is a reflection of your lack of effort. But I am stepping into your reality tonight to completely shatter that vicious, man-made lie. You are not failing because you are lazy. You are not broke because you are unintelligent. You are struggling because you have been born into a severe, invisible spiritual deficit. You are fighting a generational curse. Look back at your bloodline, my child. Look at your parents. Look at your grandparents. What do you see? You see a long, unbroken lineage of brilliant, beautiful, hard-working people who were constantly denied their harvest. You see a family history defined by scarcity, by scraping by surviving, but never truly thriving. You grew up hearing the language of poverty spoken over your childhood. You absorbed phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "We will always have to struggle," and "Rich people are corrupt, so we must stay humble and poor." Those were not just passing comments. In the spiritual realm, words are architectural blueprints. Your ancestors unknowingly built a ceiling of brass over your family tree, using the vocabulary of lack. They normalized the struggle. They accepted the curse as their permanent identity. And when you were born, that heavy, invisible, suffocating baton was passed directly into your innocent hands. You have been running a race wearing the heavy iron boots of your ancestors' financial trauma. But I want to introduce you to a profound mystery hidden in my word. I want to show you exactly what has been happening to your money. In the book of Judges, chapter 6, my people Israel were facing an agonizing, repetitive cycle of extreme poverty. Every single time they planted their seeds, every time they worked the soil and grew a beautiful harvest, an enemy called the Midianites would suddenly sweep down like a swarm of locusts. The Midianites did not stay all year. They only appeared at the exact moment of the harvest. They would completely strip the land, steal the crops, take the livestock, and leave the Israelites with absolutely nothing but dirt and despair. My beautiful, exhausted child, you have been fighting the spirit of Midian your entire adult life. Have you not noticed this terrifying, deeply frustrating pattern? Every single time you finally manage to save a little bit of money, every time you take one step forward and start to feel a tiny glimmer of financial hope, something suddenly breaks. Your car needs a massive repair. A sudden medical bill appears out of nowhere. An unexpected emergency completely wipes out the exact amount you just managed to save. You take one step forward, and a massive, unseen hand violently shoves you 3 steps back. You thought you just had incredibly bad luck. You thought the universe was playing a cruel joke on you, but it was not luck. It was the Midianite curse operating in your bloodline. It is a spiritual parasite specifically assigned to your family name, designed to ensure that you never accumulate enough resources to fund the massive kingdom purpose I placed inside your DNA. The enemy knows that if you ever get access to true, overflowing wealth, You will use it to build sanctuaries, heal the broken, and dismantle the kingdom of darkness. And so, he has assigned a devourer to keep you permanently distracted by the sheer panic of daily survival. But tonight, the Supreme Court of Heaven is issuing a restraining order against the devourer. I am stepping onto the battlefield of your finances, and I am drawing a blazing line of consuming fire in the sand. Let us go back to the story of the Midianites. Because of this relentless, crushing poverty, there was a young man named Gideon. He was so terrified, so deeply traumatized by the constant theft of his resources, that he was hiding in a winepress, a dark, sunken hole in the ground, trying to secretly thresh a tiny bit of wheat just to survive another day. He felt weak. He felt insignificant. He felt like the absolute least important person in his entire family. But I did not see a terrified victim hiding in a hole. I saw the cycle breaker. I sent my angel to appear before Gideon in the darkness of that winepress, and I did not address his fear. I addressed his divine identity. I called out to him and said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Judges chapter 6, verse 12. I am speaking those exact, earth-shattering words over your life in this precise moment. You might be sitting in your room right now, looking at your empty bank account, feeling like you are hiding in a winepress. You might feel weak, defeated, and entirely disqualified from the concept of wealth. But I am not looking at your current bank balance. I am looking at the eternal blueprint of your spirit. I am calling you by your true heavenly name. The Lord is with you, mighty warrior. The Lord is with you, generational cycle breaker. You are the one I have specifically, carefully chosen out of your entire bloodline to completely shatter this ancient yoke of scarcity. The generational curse of poverty has traveled down your family tree for 100 years, destroying dreams, ruining marriages with stress, and burying brilliant minds in the graveyard of what if. It has traveled like a runaway train, gathering momentum, destroying everything in its path. But it has just crashed into you. And it stops here, it dies here, tonight. To permanently dismantle this curse, you must undergo a radical, immediate physical and spiritual reset. The spirit of poverty does not just live in your wallet, it lives in your nervous system. It lives in the shallow way you breathe. It lives in the chronic tension of your shoulders. You have literally trained your physical body to expect financial disaster. I want to break that physiological trauma right now. I want you to become intensely aware of the physical space you are occupying. Do not look at your phone. Do not look at your bills. Close your eyes. I want you to focus all of your attention on your throat and your stomach. These are the exact physical locations where you have been hoarding the terrifying, icy grip of financial panic. Take a slow, deep, deliberate breath in through your nose. Do not rush this. As you inhale, I want you to visualize breathing in the lush, green, fragrant, overwhelming abundance of the Garden of Eden. Breathe in the reality that your Father owns the galaxies. Hold that breath in your chest. Now, as you exhale through your mouth, I want you to physically, consciously force the muscles in your stomach to unknot. Push out the suffocating, stale air of scarcity. Push out the terrifying echo of, "We don't have enough." Breathe in my limitless provision. Exhale your ancestral panic. Let your shoulders drop an entire inch. Unclench your hands. You have been walking around with your fists tight, desperately trying to hold on to pennies, terrified that if you open your hands, you will lose the tiny bit that you have. But my child, a closed, tight fist cannot catch a torrential downpour of gold. Open your hands right now. Turn your palms upward in a posture of radical, fearless receiving. You are transitioning from the exhausting, miserable posture of a beggar to the undeniable, majestic posture of an heir. An heir does not panic about the electric bill in the king's palace. An heir does not beg for bread at their father's table. You are a joint heir with Jesus Christ. Romans chapter 8, verse 17. The wealth of this world is not a distant, impossible fantasy. It is your legal, spiritual inheritance. Keep your hands open. Feel the physical vulnerability, the absolute surrender of that majestic posture. As you sit there with your palms facing the heavens, you are no longer operating in the frantic, desperate frequency of a survivor. You are operating in the undeniable, magnetic frequency of a sovereign heir. But to permanently sustain the massive, staggering weight of the financial glory I am about to pour into those open hands, we must address the very foundation of your spiritual anatomy. I told you that the curse of poverty stops with you today. But a curse of this magnitude, one that has entrenched itself in your family tree for generations, is not broken by simply wishing for it to go away. It is not broken by reading a self-help book, and it is not broken by merely working double shifts until your physical body collapses in exhaustion. A generational curse is a highly illegal demonic contract that was silently signed in the unseen realm by your ancestors. It was signed through their agreements with fear, their acceptance of lack, and their profound ignorance of my absolute abundance. Tonight, I am stepping into the Supreme Court of Heaven as your ultimate advocate and your righteous judge. I am taking the heavily stained, ancient, rusted contract of your family's poverty, the contract that dictated your grandparents would struggle, your parents would scrape by, and you would inevitably drown in debt, and I am holding it up to the blazing, consuming fire of my holiness. I am rendering it entirely, eternally null and void. I am slamming the gavel of divine justice down on the timeline of your bloodline. Colossians chapter 2 verse 14 declares that I have cancelled the charge of our legal indebtedness, which stood against us and condemned us. He has taken it away, nailing it to the cross. The legal right of the devourer to touch your money has been permanently revoked, but I am not stopping at the legal level. I am stepping into your physical and spiritual biology. I am the divine geneticist. The trauma of poverty, the constant, suffocating fear of starvation and eviction, does not just affect your bank account. It actually alters the spiritual DNA passed down through the generations. You were born with a cellular predisposition to panic about money. You were born with an invisible, suffocating ceiling hovering just inches above your head. Right now, in the profound electric stillness of this room, I am performing a supernatural cellular surgery. In your mind's eye, I want you to visualize the double helix of your DNA. See it glowing softly in the dark. But wrapped around those beautiful strands of life are heavy, gray, calcified, rusted vines, the generational programming of lack, the inherited belief that you are not good enough, the deeply ingrained fear that if you ever get ahead, someone will inevitably take it away from you. I am sending the pure, piercing, laser-like light of my Holy Spirit directly into your spiritual genetic code. Feel a sudden, intense, comforting warmth spreading outward from the very center of your chest, radiating down your spine and flowing into your limbs. That warmth is the frequency of heaven literally unbinding, dissolving, and incinerating the rusted vines of poverty. You are being completely recoded. I am meticulously extracting the DNA of the slave, and I am actively splicing in the DNA of the king. You are no longer a victim of your family's history. You are the architect of their newly redeemed future. Remember my unshakable promise in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms His covenant, which He swore to your ancestors. Did you hear that, my child? I give you the ability, the power, the brilliant ideas, and the undeniable anointing to produce wealth. For far too long, the enemy has used a brilliant, highly effective, twisted lie to keep my most empathetic, deeply loving, and spiritually gifted children bound in the heavy chains of financial struggle. The lie is this: money is the root of all evil. To be truly spiritual, you must be poor. If you ask God for immense wealth, you are selfish, greedy, and worldly. I want to shatter that demonic illusion right now, once and for all, and scatter its ashes to the wind. The love of money is the root of evil, but money itself is merely an earthly tool. It is an amplifier. It is a massive magnifying glass of what is already inside a human heart. If you hand millions of dollars to a corrupt, deeply selfish, narcissistic person, their corruption is simply amplified, and they use that wealth to build prisons for others. But what happens when I take millions of dollars and place them securely into the healed, open, empathetic hands of a kingdom architect like you? What happens when I give massive, overflowing, shocking wealth to someone who knows exactly what it feels like to go to bed hungry? Someone who knows the sheer terror of an eviction notice? Someone whose heart violently breaks when they see the suffering of the innocent? I will tell you exactly what happens. The hungry are miraculously fed. The orphans are given beautiful, safe homes. The broken, toxic systems of this world are dismantled. Beautiful, life-giving art is funded and created. Sanctuaries of healing are built. Single mothers have their rent paid in full for a year by a mysterious benefactor. Entire communities are lifted out of the mud. I am not withholding wealth from you. I have been meticulously, painfully preparing your character so that you would be strong enough to wield immense wealth as a devastating weapon of light, rather than letting it become a heavy, golden anchor that sinks your soul. I have been testing your integrity in the valley of lack. You were faithful with pennies. You paid your bills with a trembling hand but a trusting heart. You gave your last dollar to someone who needed it more than you did, thinking nobody in the universe noticed. I noticed. I saw every single quiet, unseen sacrifice. And my word decrees in Luke chapter 16 verse 10, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much." You have passed the test of the wilderness. You have survived the agonizing barren desert of the Midianite curse. And now, I am officially upgrading your spiritual title. You are no longer just a survivor trying to make ends meet. I am ordaining you tonight as a Kingdom Financier. I am designating your life as a primary distribution center for heaven's endless resources. Because of this new anointing, a massive, unprecedented, completely illogical wealth transfer is being initiated in the heavenly realms on your behalf. The resources you need to build your dreams, to secure your family, and to fund your divine purpose are not currently sitting in heaven. They are already here on earth. The money exists, the opportunities exist, the real estate exists, the business connections exist, but currently, they are locked in the hands of the unjust. I am changing the current of the global river of wealth. Proverbs chapter 13 verse 22 guarantees this reality. The wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. I am actively commanding the wealth that has been hoarded by the corrupt, the greedy, and the wicked to completely shift its gravitational pull. I am redirecting the flow of massive generational capital directly toward your open hands. You do not need to desperately figure out the mathematics of this miracle. If you try to calculate how you are going to become wealthy using only your current salary, your current earthly job, and your current logical understanding of the economy, you will only give yourself a severe panic attack. Stop trying to do heavenly math with an earthly calculator. I am the God of the sudden, shocking overflow. I can orchestrate a single phone call tomorrow afternoon that completely eclipses 10 years of your grueling, agonizing hard work. I can breathe my favor onto a simple passing idea you have in the shower and turn it into a multi-million-dollar global enterprise within months. I can prompt a complete stranger, a high-level executive who has never even seen your face, to suddenly wake up in the middle of the night with a burning, unexplainable compulsion to find you, hire you, or invest heavily in your vision. The curse is broken. The vault is wide open. But to survive the sheer velocity of the blessing that is about to hit your life, you must be prepared for the specific, aggressive tactics the enemy will use to try and make you drop the gold. The moment you cross this threshold tonight, a very specific psychological warfare is going to be launched against your mind to make you sabotage your own miracle. You must know exactly what this trap looks like and exactly how to effortlessly disarm it. Listen to the absolute stillness of your room right now. Breathe in the reality of the massive, staggering financial shift we have just set into motion. The vault of heaven is open, the devourer has been bound, and the undeniable flow of generational wealth is aggressively making its way toward your earthly coordinates. But as I warned you, you must be hyper-aware of the psychological warfare that is about to be launched against your mind. The enemy knows he can no longer stop the provision from arriving. The legal decree has already been signed in the courts of heaven. So, his only remaining strategy is to trick you into dropping the gold the exact second it touches your hands. This insidious trap is not going to look like a monster. It is going to look like a deeply familiar, suffocating emotion. It is called survivor's guilt. When the breakthrough fully manifests, when the massive checks clear, when your business explodes with impossible favor, when you suddenly find yourself sitting in a place of total, unshakable financial security, you are going to look around at your environment. You will look at your siblings, your aging parents, your old friends, and the community you grew up in. You will see them still trapped in the agonizing, exhausting trenches of the poverty cycle. You will see them still counting pennies, still deeply stressed, still running on the exhausting treadmill of survival. And in that exact moment, a dark, venomous whisper will slither into your ear. It will say, "Who do you think you are? How dare you live in a beautiful, peaceful home while they are struggling? You are betraying your roots. You are leaving your people behind. You do not deserve this money. You are an imposter, and you need to give it all away or shrink back down to their level so they do not feel bad." My precious, deeply empathetic child, you must recognize this lie immediately and crush it beneath your feet. Poverty is not a culture. Scarcity is not a family tradition that you are required to blindly honor. Poverty is a demonic captivity. It is a prison cell. When a prisoner finally miraculously breaks out of a dark, suffocating dungeon, they do not honor the other prisoners by locking themselves back inside out of a false sense of guilt. That helps absolutely no one. You cannot pull a drowning man out of a raging, violent river if you are also drowning right next to him. To save him, you must be standing on the dry, solid, unshakable bedrock of the riverbank. You must have leverage. You must have a strong rope. The wealth I am giving you is that solid ground. The abundance I am pouring into your life is the rescue rope. I want to remind you of the story of my servant Joseph. His own brothers, driven by deep, toxic jealousy, stripped him of his beautiful coat, threw him into a dark pit, and sold him into brutal slavery. He spent years in absolute suffering, locked in a foreign dungeon. But I was with him. I elevated him overnight. In a single 24-hour period, Joseph went from a forgotten prisoner in a dark cell to the second most powerful, incredibly wealthy man in the entire Egyptian empire. I placed the massive wealth of an entire global superpower completely under his control. Genesis chapter 41. When a devastating, deadly famine struck the land years later, his brothers, the very same men who threw him into the pit, were starving to death. They came to Egypt begging for food. Did Joseph feel guilty for wearing Pharaoh's heavy gold ring while his family was hungry? Did he apologize for living in a magnificent palace? No, because he suddenly understood the architecture of my divine plan. He looked at his brothers and declared, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis chapter 50 verse 20. My beautiful cycle breaker, you are the Joseph of your bloodline. I am pulling you out of the generational pit. I am placing you in the palace of financial and spiritual abundance. Not so you can arrogantly boast, not so you can feed your ego, but so that when the famine hits, when the unexpected crises strike your family line, you will be the solid, unshakable, wealthy storehouse they can run to for safety. Do not ever let the enemy make you feel guilty for carrying the resources required to save your own lineage. To hold this level of power, however, we must violently address another massive psychological hurdle: your capacity for peace. This is known in the heavenly realms as your wealth tolerance. For your entire adult life, your nervous system has been biologically addicted to financial panic. You are so used to the constant, agonizing adrenaline rush of a crisis, the sudden overdraft fees, the broken appliances, the frantic scramble to pay a late bill, that chaos has actually become your comfortable baseline. When a person who is addicted to financial chaos suddenly receives a massive blessing, their unhealed mind literally panics because peace feels terrifyingly abnormal. Subconsciously, they will quickly, recklessly spend the money, or subconsciously sabotage the opportunity, just to get back to the familiar, comforting feeling of being broke and stressed. I am completely dismantling that self-sabotage program in your brain right now. I am expanding your capacity to tolerate extreme peace. I am increasing your capacity to hold, manage, and multiply massive amounts of capital without letting it destroy your nervous system. Let us do a profound physical, spiritual exercise to lock this new paradigm into your earthly body. Wherever you are sitting or lying down, I want you to gently close your eyes. Make a tight, clenched fist with your left hand. Squeeze it as hard as you comfortably can. Imagine that inside that left fist, you are holding a dirty, rusted, completely worthless copper coin. That coin represents the poverty mindset. It represents the generational curse of lack. It represents the sheer, agonizing terror of checking your bank app. It represents every time you had to painfully say no to a dream because you simply could not afford it. Hold it tight. Feel how exhausting it is to keep your fist clenched like that. Your hand is already starting to ache. That is exactly what holding onto the poverty mindset has been doing to your beautiful soul for decades. It is exhausting you. Now, on the count of 3, I want you to dramatically, completely open that left hand and turn your palm toward the floor. I want you to vividly, physically visualize letting that heavy, rusted coin drop. 1, 2, 3. Open your hand, drop it. Hear the dull, heavy clink of that rusted coin hitting the floor and rolling away into the dark. Let your fingers completely relax. Shake the tension out of your wrist. You will never ever pick up that coin again. Now, I want you to turn your right hand palm up toward the ceiling. Keep your hand completely open, completely relaxed, completely vulnerable. Imagine my hand reaching out from the heavenly dimension and placing something undeniably heavy, warm and brilliant into your open palm. It is a massive, solid gold signet ring. Feel the majestic, incredible weight of it pressing into your skin. This is the signet ring of the Kingdom Financier. This is the exact ring of authority I placed on Joseph's finger. With this ring, you have unlimited, unrestricted access to the vast, overflowing storehouses of heaven. When you stamp this ring on a vision, the resources will instantly materialize to fund it. When you stamp this ring on a broken system, the brilliant minds and the capital needed to fix it will violently rush toward you. Close your right hand gently around that warm, heavy gold. Bring your hand to your chest and press it against your heart. Breathe in deeply through your nose. Draw the reality of this massive royal authority directly into your lungs. Hold it. Now exhale completely. You are no longer a victim of a cruel economy. You are no longer the tragic casualty of bad luck. You are a sovereign, fully funded, fiercely protected agent of the Most High God. You have been officially cleared for the wealth transfer. But as you step into tomorrow carrying this massive new authority, there is a strict, non-negotiable protocol you must follow. The universe responds exclusively to the frequency of your spoken words, and the curse of Midian is desperately looking for a loophole to sneak back into your life through your own vocabulary. In the next 24 hours, the enemy is going to test your new identity by trying to bait you into speaking the language of the slaves. There are 3 specific, highly toxic phrases that you must absolutely banish from your mouth starting tomorrow morning, or you risk jamming the gears of your own miracle. Listen to the steady, quiet rhythm of your breathing right now. You are holding the golden signet ring of the Kingdom Financier against your chest. The legal decree of your generational poverty has been incinerated. The vault is open. But to successfully transfer the massive wealth of heaven into your earthly reality, you must master the profound, terrifying physics of sound. In my kingdom, words are not merely descriptive, they are intensely, violently creative. I did not build the galaxies with a hammer and nails. I did not mold the mountains with a chisel. I spoke them into existence. I said, "Let there be light," and the blinding, explosive reality of light obeyed the frequency of my voice. Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. Because I have actively spliced my divine DNA into your spirit tonight, your voice carries a terrifying, microscopic fraction of that exact same creative authority. Words are not just air leaving your lungs. Words are spiritual containers. When you speak, you are manufacturing invisible boxes in the spiritual realm, and heaven is legally obligated to fill those boxes with the exact reality you just decreed. When you speak the language of lack, you are building tiny, suffocating boxes, and my angels are forced to compress your massive blessings to fit into the microscopic, poverty-stricken containers you have provided. The spirit of Midian, the devourer we have officially banished tonight, is currently standing outside the perimeter of your life, desperately searching for a legal loophole to re-enter, and the only door he can use is your mouth. In the next 24 hours, the enemy is going to orchestrate minor, irritating situations specifically designed to bait you into speaking the language of the slaves. There are 3 specific, highly toxic, incredibly dangerous phrases that you must absolutely, permanently banish from your vocabulary starting tomorrow morning. These phrases are the anchors of the poverty curse. The first forbidden phrase is, "I cannot afford it." Every single time you stand in a store, or look at a bill, or dream of a beautiful vacation, and you helplessly whisper, "I cannot afford it," you are bowing your knee to the god of scarcity. You are violently contracting your spiritual aura. You are telling the universe that earthly paper currency holds more supreme authority over your life than the creator of the cosmos. Starting tomorrow, when you look at something that currently exceeds your earthly bank balance, you will no longer declare defeat. You will shift the frequency. You will look at it and calmly declare, "My Father is currently directing my immense resources elsewhere," or, "I am choosing not to purchase this today, but my wealth is infinitely expanding." Do you feel the monumental shift in power? You are no longer a victim of a price tag. You are the sovereign manager of an expanding treasury. The second forbidden phrase is, "I am just trying to survive." Listen to me closely. Survival mode is an incredibly traumatizing, agonizing frequency. It is the frequency of a hunted animal running for its life in the dark woods. When someone asks you how you are doing, and you let out a heavy sigh and say, "I am just trying to survive," you are setting your biological and spiritual baseline to the absolute barest minimum. I did not send my only son to die a brutal, agonizing death on a Roman cross so that you could merely survive and scrape by in misery. I came that you may have life and have it abundantly. John chapter 10 verse 10. You must elevate your verbal baseline. From this moment forward, when the world asks how you are, you will look them dead in the eye and declare, "I am thriving, I am building, I am stepping into massive overflow." Call forth those things which be not as though they were. Romans chapter 4, verse 17. The third and most deeply destructive forbidden phrase is, "This is too good to be true," or "I am just waiting for the other shoe to drop." My beautiful traumatized child. This phrase is the ultimate tragic slap in the face to my infinite grace. This is your unhealed trauma speaking. This is the scar tissue of past betrayals trying to protect you from future disappointment. When a sudden check arrives in the mail, when an impossible door swings wide open, when the medical report comes back entirely clear, your panicked human mind will want to reject the peace. It will want to aggressively search for the hidden trap. But when you say, "It is too good to be true," you are actively limiting my goodness to the pathetic, broken standards of human logic. You are literally telling heaven to stop pouring out blessings because your capacity to receive has maxed out. You must permanently erase this phrase. When the shocking miracle hits your life this week, you will not flinch. You will take a deep breath, open your arms, and declare with royal authority, "God is infinitely good, and I am entirely worthy of this breathtaking blessing." To physically lock this new vocabulary into your nervous system, I want you to do a specific ASMR activation right now. Bring your awareness entirely to your throat. The throat is the sacred, highly sensitive gateway of life and death. Proverbs chapter 18 verse 21. It is the bridge between the invisible thoughts of your mind and the physical manifestation of your reality. I want you to gently clear your throat right now. Just a soft, quiet clearing. That physical action represents the dislodging of decades of generational poverty that has been stuck in your vocal cords like a toxic sickness. Now, swallow deeply. As you swallow, visualize the warm, soothing, golden oil of my Holy Spirit coating your vocal cords. Your voice is being officially anointed. It is being recalibrated to the frequency of absolute dominion. When you speak tomorrow, your voice will carry a different, heavier, more resonant timbre. People will stop what they are doing to listen to you, not because you are speaking loudly, but because your words are now heavily saturated with the undeniable gravity of heavenly wealth. But I must issue a severe, critical warning about what happens the exact second this new frequency of wealth activates in your life. As the massive, undeniable financial overflow begins to manifest, as you step out of the shadows and into the blinding spotlight of my favor, you are going to trigger a violent reaction in the spiritual ecosystem around you. We must speak about the detoxification of the circle and the sudden appearance of the Judas spirit. When you were broken, exhausted, and struggling to make ends meet, certain people in your life were perfectly comfortable with you. They loved you when you were entirely dependent on them. They loved bonding with you over shared misery, shared complaints about the economy, and shared victimhood. Your lack of boundaries and your constant financial anxiety made them feel superior. But the moment you stand up, put on the heavy golden ring of the financier, and begin speaking the language of sovereign abundance, those same people are going to experience a violent psychological reaction. When you turn on a massive, blinding stadium floodlight in a dark, damp basement, the creatures that thrive in the dark do not celebrate the light. They aggressively scatter, or they attack the source of the light. You are going to see masks slip off the faces of people you have known for years. You will witness subtle, passive-aggressive comments about your new success. You will hear them whisper that you have changed, that you have become greedy, or that you are forgetting where you came from. Some will suddenly come to you with a manufactured, highly manipulative emergency, demanding that you use your new financial breakthrough to bail them out of a crisis they created with their own toxic decisions. This is the Midianite spirit returning, this time wearing the familiar face of a friend or a family member, trying to steal your harvest from the inside. You must promise me, in the absolute sanctity of this moment, that you will not shrink back down to make their demons comfortable. Do not dim your blinding, radiant floodlight just because it hurts their unhealed eyes. You are not responsible for managing their toxic insecurities. If you allow the guilt trips of the Judas spirit to manipulate you into giving away the seed capital I am providing, you will accidentally rebuild the very dam of poverty we just blew open. I am giving you a brand new, highly offensive weapon for this season, the holy, sanctified, impenetrable boundary of the word no. No is a complete sentence in my kingdom. You do not need to provide an exhausting, paragraph-long justification for protecting your peace and your resources. When the manipulative request comes, you will simply say no with a heart full of peace, completely untroubled by their angry reaction. Let the circle detoxify. Let the dead leaves naturally fall off the branches of your life. The people who are truly assigned to your destiny, the other kingdom architects and financiers who operate on this elite level, are already navigating toward your coordinates. I am clearing the stage so that your true, immensely powerful, unconditionally supportive spiritual tribe has room to land. You are being positioned for the first harvest, the very first sudden, unexpected financial miracle that is going to hit your life in the coming days, carries a profound, dangerous, and magnificent secret. It contains what heaven calls the golden seed. And if you do not know exactly how to handle this specific seed within the first 48 hours of it arriving in your hands, you risk capping your own generational miracle. Listen very closely to the profound, quiet stillness of this exact moment. You are holding the undeniable, heavy authority of a kingdom financier. The generational curse of poverty has been officially shattered. Your throat has been cleared of the language of the slaves, and your environment is being violently purged of the Judas spirit. Now, I must hand you the ultimate blueprint for sustaining the massive exponential wealth that is currently hurtling toward your earthly timeline. In the very near future, sooner than your logical mind is prepared to comprehend, an event of sudden, overwhelming financial favor is going to manifest in your physical reality. It may come as a radically unexpected promotion, a sudden inheritance, a staggering return on an investment you had forgotten about, the explosive success of a business idea, or a massive, completely unexplainable check in the mail. When you look at the numbers in your account, when you see the tangible, undeniable proof that the vault of heaven has been thrown wide open for you, your physical body is going to experience a profound state of shock. For someone who has spent their entire adult life desperately calculating the agonizing cost of basic groceries, lying awake in sheer, cold panic over a sudden car repair, and constantly holding their breath at the checkout counter, the sudden presence of overwhelming, limitless abundance can actually trigger a deep trauma response. Your unhealed, survival-wired brain will immediately scream, "Hoard it, hide it, do not spend a dime. What if this is a mistake? What if God changes his mind? What if the money suddenly vanishes overnight?" When that intense, visceral wave of panic hits you, you must remember the sacred instruction I am giving you right now. Do not panic. Do not immediately run out and tell everyone you know. And absolutely do not act out of the frantic, chaotic, terrified energy of the poverty mindset. You must immediately apply the divine protocol of the 48-hour stillness. When the breakthrough manifests, I want you to sit in absolute, complete silence for the first 48 hours. Close your mouth. Protect your energetic frequency. Do not let the loud, greedy voices of the world or the sudden, manipulative opinions of distant relatives and acquaintances pollute the pristine, holy space of your miracle. I want you to simply sit in the quiet, look directly at what I have done for you, and literally, physically exhale. I want you to feel the heavy, rusted, agonizing chains of generational poverty falling off your wrists and crashing to the floor. I want you to breathe in the absolute, unshakable safety of my provision, and then, within that 48-hour window, you must locate and deliberately plant the golden seed. In every massive harvest I provide, there is a specific portion designed for your personal consumption and enjoyment, and a specific, highly concentrated portion designed exclusively for multiplication. The catastrophic mistake that the world makes is that they consume their seed. They get a financial breakthrough, and their unchecked ego immediately takes over. They buy the flashy things. They try to impress people who do not genuinely care about them, and they desperately hoard the rest in a stagnant, rotting pool of fear. But you are now governed by the elite, heavenly spiritual law of circulation. Wealth in my kingdom is not a stagnant swamp. It is a rushing, magnificent, life-giving river. For the river to continue flowing powerfully into your life, it must also flow powerfully out of your life. The golden seed is the very first deliberate action you take with your new wealth. Before you upgrade your lifestyle, before you buy the new car or the breathtaking new house, which you absolutely will do, and which I take immense fatherly delight in giving you. You must take a specific portion of that sudden breakthrough and intentionally, joyfully give it away. I will not tell you the exact earthly amount. My Holy Spirit will whisper that specific number directly into your heart when the precise moment arrives, but I will tell you exactly how to direct it. I want you to find someone who is sitting in the exact same dark, terrifying, suffocating valley of financial panic that you are currently walking out of. Find the exhausted single mother who is silently weeping in her car because she cannot afford winter coats for her children. Find the honest, hard-working family about to lose their home to a merciless bank. Find a cause, a ministry, or an orphanage that is doing the genuine, bloody work of healing the brokenhearted in the trenches of this world. And I want you to give them that golden seed completely anonymously, or with such profound, staggering humility that they cannot possibly ever repay you. Do you know what happens in the spiritual realm the exact second you release that golden seed from your open hand? You violently, permanently break the back of the demonic spirit of mammon over your life. You prove to the universe, to the observing angels, to the terrified enemy, and most importantly, to your own subconscious mind, that money absolutely does not control you. You prove that you are no longer a slave to fear. You establish yourself as a trusted, fearless, sovereign distributor of the King's wealth. When heaven sees that you can be implicitly trusted to keep your hand open and release the seed, the floodgates will lock permanently into the open position. The breakthrough you just received will not be a rare, one-time lucky event. It will become your new, permanent, unshakable baseline. You will permanently shift from the agonizing, bone-crushing stress of trying to make a living to the majestic, breathtaking, artistic joy of designing a magnificent life. The heavy lifting of this night is officially over. The spiritual transactions have been fully authorized, signed in blood, and sealed in fire. The generational curse of Midian is dead. The wealth transfer is actively in motion. You do not need to fight your wakefulness anymore. You do not need to play out defensive, terrifying scenarios in your head. I am now giving your physical body and your deeply exhausted, overworked mind complete, unrestricted, guilt-free permission to finally shut down and rest. Let the soothing, rhythmic, steady pulse of my unconditional love wash over your bed right now. Listen closely to the calm, unwavering, fiercely protective cadence of my voice in the absolute quietness of your room. I am speaking directly to your battered nervous system. I am actively commanding the corrosive cortisol, the excess adrenaline, and the heavy, toxic panic of poverty to completely, permanently drain from your fragile veins right now. Let your spine sink completely and heavily into your mattress. Feel the tight, aching, overworked muscles in your lower back entirely release their desperate, protective grip. Unfurl your legs. Let your neck soften deeply into your pillow. The spiritual predator that was feeding on your finances is gone, and your sanctuary is officially entirely secure. You can finally lower your shield. As you close your heavy, exhausted eyes tonight, understand that the spiritual mechanics of your sleep are completely different. I am not merely placing invisible guards at your door. I am actively placing a towering, blazing, impenetrable wall of consuming divine fire completely around the perimeter of your bedroom. As my prophet recorded in Zechariah chapter 2 verse 5, "For I, declares the Lord, will be a wall of fire around her, and I will be the glory in her midst." Visualize that roaring, brilliant, warm, holy fire surrounding your bed right now. It is not a fire that destroys. It is a fire that fiercely, jealously protects. No spirit of lack, no astral projection of jealousy, and no lingering financial panic can possibly cross that terrifying, blinding firewall. Any negativity directed at you tonight will incinerate into ash the exact moment it touches my divine barrier. You are permanently sealed in a magnificent, indestructible vacuum of holy peace. While you surrender your physical body to deep, paralyzing, restorative sleep, my spirit of truth will be actively, surgically operating on your subconscious mind. I will be meticulously unwiring the deep-rooted trauma of scarcity. I will be smoothing out the deep, chaotic, tangled wrinkles of anxiety in your brain. I will be pouring the soothing, warm, golden oil of my Holy Spirit over your most painful, hidden memories of lacking and struggling, extracting the agonizing sting and leaving only pure wisdom, grace, and an unshakable mindset of abundance. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be incredibly sweet. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 24. Listen to the steady, comforting rhythm of your own heartbeat in the absolute silence of your room. Badum, badum. With every single beat of your heart, hear me whispering directly into your sleeping spirit. I love you. You are wealthy. You are safe. I love you. You are wealthy. You are safe. Let that divine, eternal, loving rhythm lull you into the deepest, most restorative, most profoundly peaceful sleep you have experienced in your entire adult life. But you must listen to this final, critical instruction. The most crucial moment of this entire night will not happen while you are asleep. It will happen the exact, precise second your eyes open tomorrow morning. There is a specific 5-second window of time at the dawn of the new day that will determine the speed of your massive manifestation. If you handle those 5 seconds incorrectly, you will delay the delivery. But if you do exactly what I am about to tell you, listen to me very carefully, my beautiful chosen Kingdom Financier. The most crucial moment of this entire spiritual transaction will not actually happen while you are asleep tonight. It will happen the exact, precise second your physical eyes open tomorrow morning. There is a specific 5-second window of time at the very dawn of your new day that will completely determine the speed and the magnitude of your massive manifestation. If you handle those 5 seconds incorrectly out of habit, you will accidentally delay the delivery of your miracle. But if you do exactly what I am about to instruct you to do, you will instantly unlock the vault. In the spiritual realm, this is known as the law of the first fruits of consciousness. For your entire adult life, your brain has been deeply wired by the trauma of poverty and survival. Because of this, what is the very first thing you normally do when you wake up? Before you even fully open your eyes, your mind immediately begins to race. You instantly start mentally listing your heavy obligations. You think about the bills that are due. You think about the people who have hurt you. You reach over, grab your phone in the dark, and immediately flood your fragile waking mind with the toxic, frantic, anxiety-inducing noise of the world. In those first 5 seconds of waking, you unconsciously invite the spirit of panic right back into your bedroom, and you voluntarily hand over the sovereign authority of your day to the enemy. That cycle completely and permanently dies tomorrow morning. When the very first ray of morning light touches your window, and your consciousness gently pulls you out of your deep, restorative sleep, I am giving you a strict, holy command. Do not reach for your phone. Do not look at your notifications. Do not let a single thought of your past financial struggles cross your mind. In that highly sensitive, incredibly vulnerable 5-second window, I want you to simply lie still on your back. Keep your hands open, resting at your sides. I want you to open your eyes, look up at the ceiling, and deliberately, intentionally smile. Even if you have to force it at first, smile. And before any other thought can form in your brain, I want you to speak this specific decree out loud into the atmosphere of your room. Your voice must be the very first sound your ears hear. Say this with absolute, unshakable, royal authority. I am the cycle breaker. The curse of Midian is dead. I am a fully funded Kingdom Financier. My vault is wide open, and today is the day of my massive, overflowing harvest. Do you understand the terrifying, magnificent power of what you are doing in that moment? You are hijacking the enemy's psychological trap. You are giving me the absolute first fruits of your consciousness. By declaring that truth in the first 5 seconds of your day, you are setting an impenetrable spiritual perimeter around your mind. You are actively commanding the angels of wealth, favor, and protection to instantly deploy on your behalf before your feet even touch the floor. When you swing your legs over the side of the bed tomorrow and your feet make contact with the ground, the physical earth is going to feel different beneath you. You are not going to step down as a tired, broken, exhausted victim who is just trying to survive another miserable day. You are going to step down as a fully equipped, heavily anointed, sovereign heir who is stepping into a world that has been entirely rewritten in their favor. Expect the shock of my goodness tomorrow. As you walk through your day, remaining anchored in this deep, unbothered peace, you are going to witness the undeniable, physical manifestation of everything we have transacted tonight. Expect an email to arrive that completely changes your financial trajectory. Expect a phone call from someone you have not spoken to in years, bringing the exact, miraculous, lucrative opportunity you have been crying out for. Expect heavy, rusted iron doors of corporate and financial gatekeepers to swing wide open effortlessly, doors that you previously bruised your knuckles trying to bang down. When the sudden blessing hits your life tomorrow, when you look at the miraculous numbers, or when you read the approval letter, remember the protocol I taught you. Remember the 48-hour stillness. Do not panic. Do not sabotage it with disbelief. Simply smile. Breathe in the immense relief of my provision and silently thank me. The wealth of the wicked has officially been transferred into your righteous open hands, but that is tomorrow. The miraculous dawn is my responsibility to orchestrate. Your only responsibility right now, in the quiet safety of this sacred night, is to completely let go and surrender to the healing power of sleep. The heavy, exhausting lifting of this night is officially over. The ancient generational contract of your poverty has been legally incinerated in the supreme courts of heaven. The spirit of the devourer has been violently banished from your bloodline forever. Your spiritual DNA has been successfully, perfectly recoded with the undeniable frequency of limitless, royal abundance. Let the physical environment of your room perfectly reflect this intense, holy victory. Let your spine sink even deeper into your mattress. Feel the absolute, total release of every single muscle in your body. Your lower back is completely relaxed. Your shoulders have dropped away from your ears. The muscles in your face, your jaw, and your forehead are completely softened. You are enveloped in the towering, blazing, impenetrable wall of divine fire. Absolutely no demonic spirit of lack, no arrow of anxiety, and no nightmare of the past can cross that blinding, terrifying firewall. You are sealed in a magnificent, indestructible vacuum of holy, heavenly peace. Listen to the steady, comforting, beautiful rhythm of your own heartbeat. Ba-dum, ba-dum, with every single beat of your heart. Hear my voice whispering directly into your resting spirit. I love you. You are wealthy. You are safe. I love you. You are wealthy. You are safe. Let that divine, eternal, rhythmic lullaby carry you down into the deepest, most restorative, most profoundly peaceful delta wave sleep you have experienced in your entire adult life. You do not have to figure out how the money will arrive. You do not have to stress over the mechanics of your miracle. The architect of the universe is taking over your shift. I will fight your unseen battles while you dream. I will align your massive wealth while you rest. I will set your overflowing table while you sleep. You are mine. You have always been mine. The agonizing, barren winter of your life is officially over, and the explosive golden summer of your financial and spiritual harvest has arrived. Breathe deep. Release the final remnants of your fear into the fire. Drift away into the safety of my arms. Peace be unto you, now and forevermore. I love you. Rest. Free. Nederlandst, min you for hand mil some wines gesamt. Niemand you van Tom you own you, man in tamed restede de hand and inting into the dun. Bimin you hoffen yon bom in some dominions hammet hand on dendi. Boost am I don't might it in you anpan on pramuski on bon pom in sandy moet own bom and send from Mumbai. You have been specifically, intentionally chosen by the Creator to break the generational curse over your family line. If this sacred message brought profound clarity, validation, and deep financial peace to your weary soul tonight, please subscribe to God's infinite embrace and turn on the notification bell so you never miss your divine prophetic guidance. Do not let this powerful spiritual transaction pass without sealing it in the physical realm. Leave your digital signature in the courts of heaven right now. Scroll down to the comments and type, I am the cycle breaker. I receive my overflow tonight. I personally read and pray over every single comment in our beautiful community. If this sanctuary has blessed your heart tonight, and you feel led by the Holy Spirit to support our ministry, you can sow your golden seed of faith through the link in the description below. Your remarkable generosity is the lifeblood that keeps this channel alive, allowing us to spread His healing light and financial deliverance to more weary souls crying in the dark. Sleep securely inside His wall of fire tonight. Tomorrow, your harvest begins. Amen.